Good morning and welcome back to We Don't Camp. This is the second day of squirrel hunting season, and while I'm not out here to hunt, I'm out here early morning. It's a little nippy in the air, and so I thought that we would start today by showing how to build a simple fire. So one of the first steps is to be able to collect the firewood. And the strategy around starting the fire is to begin with small pieces and then to slowly work your way up to larger pieces. You want the smaller pieces because they're easier to catch. It's going to give you the fuel that you need for the larger pieces. So we'll start with collecting firewood, and I'll show you what I mean by the different sizes. Now, when you are in a wooded area, it's pretty easy to find the little kindling pieces that you're going to need. For example, I'm just walking up here, and here's all kinds of small pieces that I will use, and I can just go a few feet over, and now here are some larger pieces that I will also use. So I'm just going to collect those up and put them together and take them back to where I'm going to actually build my fire. That's the start. Now this is what I'm going to use to gather my firewood. It's just a little canvas bag. They make these specifically for gathering wood. This is not what this one was for, but because I believe in repurposing, then I'm going to take this and use it in the same way. So, as you can see, I have started to gather a little pile of kindling, and I would usually have a lot more, but since I'm just demonstrating how to get it started today, I'm not going to worry about collecting a huge load of firewood. So I decided to try to build one right here on the porch. For one thing, it's too much gunfire out there, so this provides a little more protection. But also just to show you how simply you can build this fire and control it, even within a confined space. So today I'm going to be using a little fire pit that I ordered from Temu. And I'm really in love with this little product because it's just so easy to carry around and so easy to use. But I'll show you that in more detail shortly. So this is it. My entire fire pit is contained within this little bag. And so let me open it up to show you what everything looks like. So that just fell is nothing more than some fire starters. But it came with a set of gloves, which you can see have been well used. It came, well, this is a fireproof mat that I ordered separately. But what was great about it is that it fits into this package so that I have it together. And like for today, because I'm on a wooden surface, I'm going to put the fireproof mat down to provide some further protection. So that didn't come with it, but I can store it in the bag. And so basically it came with the gloves, this set of poles so that you can have a frame. And it also came with this netting system, which is what you're actually going to burn the fire on, and the little clamps that go with it. So there you have it. So I'm going to begin by just simply showing you how to set up the fire pit itself. So I'm going to take the poles. You'll notice some of them have a black tip, so that's the part that's actually going to go on the ground. You have 4 of those, of course, and 4 for the top. I always put my bottoms in first. You know, everything that I show you, it's not that there's a right way or a wrong way. It's just Roll's way. And as you do things, you'll start to notice over the years that you will develop your own style, your own way of doing things. So I put the 4 feet in. I go ahead and put the 4 tops in. And just to make it easy on me, I've learned that if I turn them all in the direction I want them to go, before I start putting the cover on, it seems to work a little better. So of course, because I'm trying to show you this today, it doesn't want to do it. There we go. So each one is just kind of going in the direction I want it to go, and I set it down. My next step is to take this stainless steel mesh This is what the fire is actually going to burn on top of. And that's going to go and fit on here with the clamps that they provide you with. So when I bought the set, it came with 5 clamps in case you lose one. And of course I've lost one over the years. And so these are the clamps. And you'll see them up close here in a minute, what goes with them. So I simply take the clamps, put them in the 4 corners here of the mesh, like this, and go all the way around. Okay, pretty simple, pretty easy, pretty efficient. Once I get the clamps on, then I'm going to take this and stick it back into the holes here. So I'm just putting the clamps inside. I usually do one side and then come across to the opposite side. Put those in. And then this will start to take better shape. Once I get the clamps in, I just kind of press down on it. Make sure everything is in the way it's supposed to be and flat. And there's your basic stand. Now, where the mat comes in handy, if you were out on the ground and you just got dirt and stuff under it, then there's no problem. But the great thing about this is that it mostly catches ashes. Of course, you're going to have some stuff that falls over, or, you know, from time to time, but for the most part it will. But because I am on a wooden surface, I'm going to go ahead and put this fireproof mat down. And you will notice by the stains on it that it actually has caught some things for me and kept the ground from burning. So that's what it looks like. There are all types. Some are stronger than others, you know, built better. This one I love because it just fits into my pouch and easy to carry. So I set that there. And then the next thing I'm going to do, now some people will actually have fire starter kits and things. And since I'm talking mostly to people who maybe don't camp often, then you don't want to have to start a fire from scratch using old-fashioned methods. Nowadays, they have all kinds of things that you can use. For example, you got these little bundles here, these little fire bundles. You set it on fire, help get your fire going quickly. I like these. They're efficient. And in the last year or so, I found these little sticks. It comes together like about 4 or so, but you can take them, pry them loose, or twist them loose, and take one strand at a time if you need to and burn it. I typically just take one strand at a time, but you want to, you know, do whatever is convenient to make sure you get your fire going quickly. And then I also need to note that we had a big rain, so most of this firewood I just collected is going to be wet, so it might take a little bit more, and I'm going to start it out that way. So your next step, though, is simply to start taking some of your little small pieces like this, almost like a pencil size, and start to break it up. Now, some people will tell you to put your fire starter stuff down and build around it. I just, you know, do it this way. And put all my little pencil size stuff on here, typically, because this is what I want to catch on fire to give me a good base. And you don't want to just lay them all the same way because you need for them to be able to breathe. So I'm going to lay a few one direction and then go back and put the other ones in another direction. So crisscross almost. And take all my little stuff, in this case all my little wet stuff, and put that on. And then after I get so much, or if you had a tinder bundle, which we'll talk about in another video, then you would just put your little bundle in here in the middle and build around it. So for me, for today, knowing that this wood is wet, I'm going to go ahead and take some of my tumbleweed and just take some of it, twist it open a little bit, give me some loose pieces off in here to help me. For a beginner though, you might would just go and put the whole piece in there and call it a day. So you don't have to work so hard at it. Once you light this up, it's gonna go and pretty much catch things, but I'm always trying to conserve. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some of this in here and just piecing it off. It's a bit cold, so it's not, there we go. Got a good unwrap that time. Now, and just spread you a little bit off in here. Only because it's so wet, I normally wouldn't have to use that. So that's a piece. And then I'll continue to pile on top. Now I'll go just a little bit bigger than my really thin ones and go to something almost like an index finger size, not quite. And I want to start placing those on top. You can see it snapping pretty well. So, and this is all just pine. It's not even any hard wood or anything that would really burn a long time. So I'm just going to put some of those pieces. You can see how easily it's just breaking in my hands, and I'm not a strong individual. And you just kind of keep building up on that. Some more of my little pieces. I'm going to throw that in and crisscross it some more. Give me a nice little going here. And then you'll notice now I'm getting down to my really thick pieces, much thicker than my thumb. And that would be the next thing I would begin to add, something bigger and bigger as this catches. Now, some people will go ahead and put it all on here, and then once it catches up, everything is lightened. I tend to, try to let it get going first and then start to add some of those bigger pieces. But anyway, this is more than enough to get started with. So that's the basic. Now, the next thing, of course, is actually putting some heat to it and making sure we have us a good fire. So always you want to be a little careful here. If you have anything that can ignite, let's move it out of the way, or something you don't want to catch on fire. All right, I'm going to move my little bundles. And then I'm going to take one of my little twists, take me a single strand off of the twist, and that's what I'm going to try to use to light it. So, get my lighter going here. You notice how easily these will catch on fire, and that's exactly what I want. And that's exactly what you would get with a tinder bundle as well. You just want to take something that matches, lighter, anything would work. It's just that these burn a little longer and give you something to really get started with. So you notice I'm just kind of using it like this, but I could always just drop it in there and let it go like that. So now I'm just going to wait for everything to kind of catch up. And that's the basis of building a fire. Now, if you had a lot of dry wood, it would be no problem. You just simply keep adding it and it would catch pretty easily. So this right here, again, was pretty wet when I got started. So I know that these bigger pieces that I have are going to be very wet. So what I want to do is, now that I can kind of see it's going to catch, is to begin to take some of my bigger pieces. In fact, it's very wet. Uh-oh, can't do that. If you can't break it, I usually have a saw on here, and that's what it's for, pieces like that. So this is very wet. I can see it. So what I'll do with this then, because I know it's so wet, is go ahead and put it on here and let it start heating up, if you will. A couple little smaller pieces in there. Let it heat up. Really big piece, really big chunk. I think this one, okay, yeah, I can break that. And just start putting it in here, because it'll help it to go ahead and dry out really well. And if you want to, because it looks like it's trying to catch on one side, then all you really need to do is just put a little air to it, flame it, and make it stretch a little bit. And it can be something as simple as blowing on the tube. I'll take my gloves sometimes and just fan it a little bit. You see how it does the flame? You make sure that the fire is evenly distributed. And there we have it. Voila. Building a fire here on the porch on the second day of squirrel hunting season. Isn't that lovely? It's about 45 degrees out this morning. And boy, let me tell you, that sure feels good. Feels very nice to warm my hands and body with. So the fire was getting low. I just added a few more pieces, and that's what I would continue to do. Simply take me some more pieces and add them on as I can. Y'all probably heard that in the background. Sorry. Now, because the wood is wet, you're getting all this smoke. But once you get a flame going, you'll have a whole lot less smoke. Now look how it's picked up without me doing anything other than just adding a few more pieces of wood to it. And there you have it. How to build a simple fire really quickly. So we're pretty much near the end of the fire. There's a little light smoldering going on. And so I'm going to go ahead and empty it out. And so what you would do is you just want to be careful when you're out and make sure the fire is completely out. I'm going to take it out over here on the ground and just drop it out in the dirt and put a little water on it to make sure that it's completely out. And then I'm going to bring it back here and let you see me take it back down and put it up. Okay, be back with you shortly. Okay, so once this burns, what you're left with is ashes in this center part here. I've emptied all of them out and just left a few for you to see. And that's what you're actually dumping onto the ground to get rid of. When the fire is completely gone, you don't have a problem. You just turn it over and flip it. So anyway, now to disassemble everything. Really simple process. I'm going to remove my pins. And I like to go in and put everything together while I'm doing it. So we can get down low here. You know, put everything back in the bag so I can keep up with it. That's how I lost the last pin. I didn't do that. So here we go. Looked like we were on a tilt. So then I just kind of wipe all that off. It already has the creases from when it came. I just kind of follow those same creases. Fold that back down. This is where the gloves come in handy, and I didn't put them on. Normally I do, though. I'm going to put those on. Keep down some of that. So I usually start by putting this inside the casing. It helps get that shape. And since this is an important piece, it has to be included. Alrighty, so I usually start by putting this piece in first. It helps to give it some shape. Fold it in, just kind of stick it in there and let it open back up a little bit. And I'll fit everything else inside of here for the most part. So, take this, disassemble, remove the 4 pegs. I don't want them removed. And the 4 legs. Okay, and all of these just going to fit back into here. 2 poles. I take the foot and put it with a regular top post. Another foot, and a top, all the way around. This makes it kind of easy to carry when the X right. And that's me today. Okay. Foot, and a regular. Okay, and there it is. Then I'm going to take this and stick it here in the middle. That goes in. The next thing I'm going to put is my fireproof mat. And one of the things I typically do is just fold it together and then empty it out somewhere. So hold on, be right back with you. Now I just simply fold this back up so it fits into the case. I'm sure this could be wiped down or something. I just never have. Probably should. Maybe by the next time you see me, it'll be wiped down. And I just take this. See how nice and neat it folds down? And then put it back in the bag. Again, I find if you just kind of fold it in half, even though it's not the right size, and then let it fold back out, it tends to go in just a little bit easier. Even though it doesn't look like it today. I'm pretty much through with these gloves at this point. There we go. Real easy. Now, this is kind of tricky sometimes putting this in because it really doesn't belong with the kit. But I love that it folds up, and so generally I can get it in here without too much work. I put what has to go in first, and then all the rest of it. All right, so as you can see, it's pretty much in there. Then I go ahead and take my pins that I have to have, and they just slip in real easy. And the little fire starter kit that I put together, and just roll that in nicely. It fits in. And then my 2 gloves. And I just kind of roll it and fold it. Set it right here on top. Take your cover. And it all zips in real nice. Tight, easy. On around. And there you have it. Your entire fire pit. You're actually ready to go. Wherever you need to go, on the move, you can keep warm, and especially as we approach hunting season. See you next time. You know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you.